Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a place where we break down my big concept in cybersecurity and application security generally into simpler concepts that which you can understand vividly. Now, this YouTube video is dedicated to a security research I did recently in an application, in a web application, and I found something, and it actually triggered me into thinking that most beginners might actually be oblivious to this kind of thing. So let me just address it to my audience from right here on YouTube, where we break down um, big concepts in application security and cybersecurity into simpler terms that you can understand. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This to support the channel into growing and releasing more breakdown concepts like this. So this it's saying I thought I actually found an admin access. This is something I actually what I call it, or I almost made a mistake about it. So let's continue. Now this is the scenario. On the HTTP request on the pub suite, when I was starting the application, it gave me this, and I added my own JSON file, my own JSON payload into the request to see if I can actually turn myself into an admin or have access into the application as elevating privileges. So this endpoint accepts any JSON payload. This is a telemetry API endpoint that accepts JSON data. Now, one thing about telemetry is that telemetry is an API, simply means the automatic collection, and it's sending of usage and performance data from the client or the server to a monitoring system. So in API endpoint, telemetry usually includes things like, request time, that is the latency, endpoint, that is endpoint code, we're talking about login endpoints, get user endpoints, and also give status codes like 200, 400, 500 container server error. It gives device or app information, that is the browser, the operating system, the app version, errors and stack traces, usage patterns, and that's how often an endpoint is hit. So that's what telemetry actually is. It gives and it gives what the API is being called into, and gives things telemetry usually include things like all the things I just listed now. So when you call an API, this something in the telemetry is to send a silent telemetry into the application, like latency, status, app version, and also any JSON file you put in this request. Because of this endpoint, it is going to accept it. Any payload JSON you put here is going to accept it. Now, accepting it does not mean it's with it receives the JSON file, doesn't mean it actually process the JSON payload. Now, the discovery about it is that after posting that payload, I got to HTTP 200 OK. And the thing is, wow, did I just become an admin? Did server respond to me? Did it act on it? Did it process it in the server? And that's just another question for another thing, because when you hit things like this, you put a payload and you got a 200 OK, that doesn't validate that you got the access into their server or into their application like that. Sometimes it's just the endpoint not processing it and just giving you um, a response that, okay, we received your data, but we are not processing it. Now, this is the payload. Admin true, role administrator, debug true. Now, this is what I sent to the server. The payload I sent to the server, from the previous example we have here, talking about the HTTP request in this page checkout. So you replaced all this, you just added this to it and see if it accepts this JSON payload. Now, this is injected value. The server received this but did not act on them. Now, the key question is that did the application check who I am? Because when I send this to the server, it's meant to just process it immediately and just take it in if it's not well protected. And the excitement after I got it 200 OK was that um, I have privilege escalation. I'm getting into this and might possibly even lead into an ATO, account takeover, because In fact, this is even more than account takeover, more like accounts takeover, because the moment you get into an admin access, you can do anything in the system, anything in the server, anything at all. But that doesn't really mean that you've actually gotten access because you sent a payload and it brought in 200 OK. Now, the reality is that 200 OK means that the server accepted the request. It does not mean the application trusted the request. Now, accepting a request and trusting a request are two different things. You can go to the airport with your passport, but if they do not trust you enough to see that you are the real identified owner of that passport, you will be rejected. Now, you were able to get access to that environment, but they are not trusting you to even pass through. You are just there stagnant. That's exactly how this is. Now, accepting input is not the same as acting on it. The server received your data, it didn't validate or authorize the data. Now, the input acceptance and authorization. Now, these the differences. This is not good and bad. These are just the differences between an input accepted and authorization granted. So, when an input is accepted, you see that server receives the data. JSON is well formed, no syntax errors. The HTTP 200 return request is logged. You get, and the result is that data stored, but nothing happens. The data is stored there in the server, but nothing happens. It's not processing it in the server. Now, for when you want now to see that if authorization is granted, your proof that, all right, I have an access, I've gotten access into the server is that server validates identity. It usually shows you who you are. To just put it down and be like, all right, your role now is an admin. As far as it's not showing you that your role has been changed an admin in the server in the response from the request, then don't even think that you've gotten access into the server. Your role is checked, your permission is verified, action is executed, state is changed. So the result is that admin action performed, and this is a very big vulnerability, a very big loophole, because it means that protections are not heavily enforced or put into this server in terms of receiving requests and validating and authorizing them. Now, what privilege escalation looks like is that it produces observable impact. You will see the access to admin dashboard, delete other users. You can create new admin accounts, modify new roles, view sensitive data. Now, if you send a payload and you can't even see a single sensitive data, or you can't see lots of other users' endpoints or URL, then you don't say that you have gotten an admin access. That's that's without proof of impact, That's just if you don't have all this, then you're just saying it without any proof of impact. And it's just untrusted input into a black hole. The application must act on that on the data for it to be a bug. So if the application is not acting on the data that is sent to it, on the JSON file or payload is sent to it, then it is not a valid bug. That's not a valid bug. If you submit that in HackerOne bug crowd integrity, they'll just tell you that this role, this thing is informative, and some might just give you that none, NA, that's NA. When they give you NA, it means it's not even a valid submission. This is not just informative. It's not even meant to be on the informative side of things. So if you are doing bug bounty hunting or security researching, then you understand what I just said. Now, the validation test I did for this thing where I got a fault to the forbidden is I'll be explaining that shortly. Right. So I tested the payload for the ICP and I got um, a forbidden page. So what this tells us is that the application does not validate inputs. Checks are enforced, edge cases are handled, security controls are active, and the conclusion is that the endpoint is properly protected. So whenever you put a test payload, you put anything into the request, and the response is giving you forbidden. It means that normally you already know that all these things are well protected. So it's now left to you as a bug bounty hunter to bypass it and submit it. You get. So it can be a valid bug because the fact that you can bypass it already means that you found a loophole to bypass the controls, the firewalls there. Now, lessons from these responses is that input validation, schema validation, WAF protection, security control. So for input validation, we say that it checks data type, length, and format before processing. That's for input validation. For schema validation, it enforces expected JSON structure and field constraints. The web protection, that's the web application firewall, filters malicious payloads. So this firewall is there to see anything relating to the payload they've already set it to detect. And once it sees something like that, it flags it out immediately. Now, the security controls that actually works on these backend servers is that backend authorization checks reject unauthorized actions. So for as far as this action is unauthorized from the internal, then it will not accept it. So a fault response is evidence of working security, not a bug. When you find a fault free response, then you already know that right. This is a security in at work. This is security at work. Now, the most common beginner's mistake is that they always think every 200 okay they get from their response means that they found a vulnerability or they found a bug, and this is the number one misconception. I had this issue in my early days in security research and application security, whereby I test for something, I found it on it okay, and immediately I thought I already found a very huge bug that that we get paid, I'm gonna get a very big bounty, which is actually all a lie. The status code is not proof of security flaw. You need impact, not just a response. That's why most property hunters actually most robotic platforms, triagers, they usually make sure that there's an impact. If you just tell it to them, they might even go and fix it behind your back because you couldn't even prove that you really found this by providing impact. So there is a need for impact before you can show that, all right, this is a valid bug that I have found. Now, how experienced researchers think, when I did a little research about experienced researchers, they follow a methodology. There's a kind of um, map that they follow in testing the application. So, first, the hypothesis is that if I send admin equals true, what should happen? Normally, you see that, all right, what should happen is that I should get faulty forbidding if security is enforced, and I should get a 200 OK to know if I can still continue to escalate privilege to see if I can actually prove impact. And the testing is the same failures, observe responses, document behavior. And this is not something you rush. This is something you sit down and think and test, retest, test and retest. You can't just pick a target or be given an application and you say you are done with it in within hours or within a day or two. Sometimes it takes months to even get through all these things. And the next thing is verification. They confirm the app actually acts on the input. So the way they do this is that when they send their payloads, they don't just look at the HTTP 200 OK as valid, that all right, this server actually receives this, but they try to see what actions they can perform after sending that payload to see the kind of things they now have access to. And from there, they move on to proof of impact. They show unauthorized actions with real consequences. That's where you now start providing impact. So no impact is equals to no bug. When you can't provide impact, you can't prove that there is a bug on that application. So what makes a valid bug is that impact, exploitability, the impact that does it cause you damage or data exposure, like API keys, user data, PII, that's PII, professional and personal identifiable information. Exploitability, can an attacker reliably reproduce this? If you can't reproduce this, then that's not even not a bug. You have to be able to reproduce whatever you find. Unauthorized action, does it bypass intended access controls and security risk? Is there a genuine excuse me, is there a genuine threat to the business? So this is where you start looking at the integrity of the business, the confidentiality of the business, the availability of the business. So all four must be present for a valid report. If all this is not present in the valid report, then the report is not valid and it won't be accepted. So if you want to pivot during bug hunting, it's just moving from endpoint to endpoint, checking authentication, checking the APIs, checking the accounts, and seeing what you can manipulate, what you can change, what you can check, and what you can do. So high value target equal to higher chance of real security issues. That's just a little scope you can give. When you find a very high target, then there's possibility of higher chance of finding big security issues. So a secure application isn't broken because it's sent. admin equals to true. It's broken when the application believes you. That's when it authorizes you and brings you in. So think like a researcher and not a guesser. So thank you for watching to the end of this YouTube video. And by now, I know that you've understood um, how a valid bug report looks like, and knowing that HTTP it's only OK response from a request doesn't necessarily mean you found a bug. Now, to see more videos like this, you'll see some videos popping up about now. So you can click on it and check other videos I've made on this YouTube channel, breaking big concepts and some labs, particular labs that we've solved. So let me thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And for more, you can drop a comment on what kind of videos you want me to produce next.